Hello, believers, non-believers, and everyone in between. You're listening to Stories with Sapphire. I am Sapphire Sandalo. Now get cozy and open your mind because it's story time. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Vibe Stream. This is the Thursday live stream I do every Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Oh no, what's going on? I can't do it from OBS. Do I have any moderators? Hey, can I make some people moderators? Hang on, how do I do this? Boom, Adam Lombardo, you are now moderator. Because I trust you. Who else? Sorry, this is the most awkward start to a live. So we are actually, I believe, we're gonna finish the end of Scary Stories number 3. And then I don't know, I might take a break from the Vibe stream next week while I figure out what to do, because I was originally just going to switch to creepypastas, but then I looked it up and then it says you don't have permission to narrate these, and I was like, oh, oops. Man, I don't think I have permission for these, but I feel like there's gotta be something. Okay, so let's get into it. So there's actually, I guess I didn't realize how many of the ones that I personally remembered were when I was a kid from the third one, because this lady thing, I remember her very well. And also Harold is in this one. The Red Spot. This third one's a banger. SCP, you should read SCP articles. Are those copyright free? I mean, I read these, so I don't think it matters. Okay, you ready? This is called The Dream. Lucy Morgan was an artist. She had spent a week painting in a small country town and decided that the next day she would move on. She would go to a village called Kingston. But that night, Lucy Morgan had a strange dream. She dreamed that she was walking up a dark, carved staircase and entered a bedroom. It was an ordinary room except for 2 things. The carpet was made up of large squares that looked like trapdoors, and each of the windows was fastened shut with big nails that stuck up out of the wood. In her dream, Lucy Morgan went to sleep in that bedroom. During the night, a woman with a pale face and black eyes and long black hair came into the room. She leaned over the bed and whispered, "This is an evil place. Flee while you can." When the woman touched her arm to hurry her along, Lucy Morgan awakened from her dream with a shriek. She lay awake the rest of the night, trembling. In the morning, she told her landlady that she had decided not to go to Kingston after all. "I can't tell you why," she said, "but I just can't bring myself to go there." "Then why don't you go to Dorset?" the landlady said. "It's a pretty town and it isn't too far." So Lucy Morgan went to Dorset. Someone told her she could find a room in a house at the top of the hill. It was a pleasant-looking house, and the landlady there, a plump, motherly woman, was as nice as could be. "Let's look at the room," she said. "I think you'll like it." They walked up a dark, carved staircase like the one in Lucy's dream. In these old houses, the staircases are all the same, Lucy thought. But when the landlady opened the door to the bedroom, it was the room in her dream. with the same carpet that looked like trapdoors and the same windows fastened with big nails. This is just a coincidence, Lucy told herself. How do you like it? The lady asked. I'm not sure, she said. Well, take your time, the lady said. I'll bring up some tea while you think about it. Lucy sat on the bed staring at the trapdoors and the big nails. Soon, there was a knock on the door. It's the landlady with tea, she thought. But it wasn't the landlady. It was the woman with the pale face and the black eyes and the long black hair. Lucy Morgan grabbed her things and fled. Aw, Gnarly Wonderland. Hello, this is my first time on one of your streams. By the way, you're one of my favorite storytellers. Thank you. Thanks for joining. This dream one is interesting. So, like, how did she know that the woman wanted to hurt her, though? You know, what if she just wanted to hang out? What if she wanted a friend? All right. This one's called... Sorry, I heard my dog stir. Sam's New Pet. Sam stayed with his grandmother when his parents went to Mexico for their vacation. We're going to bring you back something nice, his mother told him. It will be a surprise. Before they came home, Sam's parents looked for something Sam would like. All they could find was a beautiful sombrero. It cost too much. But that afternoon, while they were eating their lunch in a park, they decided to buy the sombrero after all. Sam's father threw what was left of their sandwiches to some stray dogs, and they walked back to the marketplace. One of the animals followed them. It was a small, gray creature with short hair, short legs, and a long tail. Wherever they went, it went. Isn't he cute? Sam's mother said. He must be one of those Mexican hairless dogs. Sam would love him. He's probably somebody's pet, Sam's father said. They asked several people if they knew who his owners were, but no one did. They just smiled and shrugged their shoulders. Finally, Sam's mother said, Maybe he's just a stray. Let's take him home with us. We can give him a good home and Sam will love him. It is against the law to take a pet across the border, but Sam's parents hid the animal in a box, and no one saw it. When they got home, they showed it to Sam. He's a pretty small dog, said Sam. He's a Mexican dog, his father said. I'm not sure what kind. I think it's called a Mexican hairless? We'll find out. But he's nice, isn't he? They gave the new pet some dog food. Then they washed it and brushed it and combed its fur. That night, it slept on Sam's bed. When Sam awakened the next morning, his pet was still there. Mother, he called. The dog has a cold. The animal's eyes were running, and there was something white around its mouth. Later that morning, Sam's mother took it to a veterinarian. Where did you get him? The vet asked. In Mexico, she said. We think he's a Mexican hairless. I was going to ask you about that. He's not a hairless, the vet said. He's not even a dog. He's a sewer rat, and he has rabies. Sewer rat. I don't know why that's so funny. He's a sewer rat, and he has rabies. Like, what are these people doing smuggling a sewer rat into America? That's really funny. That's a funny one. I like that. Firefox, when will you post an animated story? Animated stories are on hold because they take way more time than podcasts do. I'm still doing the podcast, so you still can get spooky stories from there. I haven't posted it on my YouTube yet, but you can listen anywhere, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. But I'm taking a break from those because I have a bunch of other freelance work I'm working on right now, and I just literally don't have time to do the animated videos right now. Unfortunately. So, sorry. All right. This one's called Maybe You Will Remember. Ooh, before I start, Mr. Mysterious, have you ever thought of making a horror game channel? I have played a couple horror-ish games on this YouTube. If that is something that you guys are interested in, like I did it a couple times. It was kind of fun. The thing about that is games are my escape. They're my escape. So when I stream them, it makes it not as fun. But is it something that you guys would want to see? I don't know. If you have any suggestions on games that are on Mac, I only have a Mac. But if you have any suggestions for spooky games on a Mac that you would like to, the only reason I would stream it is if people in the chat help me play the game, because I'm really bad at games. Anyways, this one's called Maybe You Will Remember. Mrs. Gibbs and her 16-year-old daughter Rosemary arrived in Paris on a hot morning in July. They had been on a vacation and now were returning home. But Mrs. Gibbs did not feel well, so they decided to rest in Paris for a few days before going on. The city was crowded with tourists. Still, they found a place to stay at a good hotel. They had a lovely room overlooking a park. It had yellow walls, a blue carpet, and white furniture. As soon as they unpacked, Mrs. Gibbs went to bed. She looked so pale that Rosemary asked to have the hotel's doctor examine her. Rosemary did not speak French, but fortunately, the doctor spoke English. He took one look at Mrs. Gibbs and said, "Your mother is too sick to travel. Tomorrow I will move her to a hospital, but she needs a certain medicine. If you go to my home for it, it will save time." The doctor said he did not have a telephone right now. Instead, he would give Rosemary a note for his wife. The hotel manager put Rosemary in a taxi and, in French, told the driver how to find the doctor's house. "It will only take a little while," he told her, "and the taxi will bring you back." But as the driver slowly drove up one street and down another, it seemed to take forever. At one point, Rosemary was sure they had gone down the same street twice. It took almost as long for the doctor's wife to answer the door, then get the medicine ready. As Rosemary sat on a bench in the empty waiting room, she kept thinking, "Why can't you hurry? Please hurry." Then she heard a telephone ring somewhere in the house, but the doctor had told her he didn't have a telephone right now. What was going on? They drove back as slowly as they had come, crawling up one street and down another. Rosemary sat in the back seat, filled with dread, her mother's medicine clutched in her hand. Why was everything taking so long? She was sure the taxi driver was going in the wrong direction. "Are you going to the right hotel?" she asked. He didn't answer. She asked again, but still he didn't reply. When he stopped for a traffic light, she threw open the door and ran from the cab. She stopped a woman on the street. The woman did not speak English, but she knew someone who did. Rosemary was right. They had been driving in the wrong direction. When she finally got back to the hotel, it was early evening. She went up to the desk clerk who had given them their room. "I'm Rosemary Gibbs," she said. "My mother and I are in room 505. May I please have the key?" The clerk looked at her closely. "You must be mistaken," he said. "There's another guest in that room. Are you sure you're in the right hotel?" He turned to help someone else. She waited until he was finished. "You gave us that room yourself when we arrived this morning," she said. "How could you forget?" He stared at her as if she had lost her mind. "You must be mistaken," he said. "I have never seen you before. Are you sure you're in the right hotel?" She asked to see the registration card they had filled out when they arrived. "It's June and Rosemary Gibbs," she said. The clerk looked in the file. "We have no card for you," he said. "You must be in the wrong hotel." "The hotel doctor will know me," Rosemary replied. He examined my mother when we arrived. He sent me for medicine she needs. I want to see him." The doctor came downstairs. "Here's the medicine for my mother," Rosemary said, holding it out to him. "Your wife gave it to me." "I have never seen you before," he said. "You must be in the wrong hotel." She asked for the hotel manager who had put her in the taxi. Surely he would remember her. "You must be in the wrong hotel," he said. "Let me give you a room where you can rest. Then maybe you will remember where you and your mother are staying." I want to see our room, Rosemary said, raising her voice. It's room 505. But it was nothing like the room she remembered. It had a double bed, not twin beds. The furniture was black, not white. The carpet was green, not blue. There was someone else's clothing in the closet. The room, she knew, had vanished, and so had her mother. This isn't the room, she said. Where's my mother? What have you done with her? You are in the wrong hotel, the manager said patiently, as if he were speaking to a young child. Rosemary asked to see the police. My mother, our things, the room, they've all disappeared, she told them. Are you sure you're in the right hotel? They asked. She went to her embassy for help. Are you sure it's the right hotel? They asked. Rosemary thought she was losing her mind. Why don't you rest here for a while, they said. Then maybe you'll remember. But Rosemary's problem was not her memory. It was what she did not know. See page 102. What is this? Oh yeah, that's the room. Hang on. What's page 102? Interesting. Okay. Weird. It has like a continuation. They didn't do this for the other one. Maybe you will remember how the story ends. What happened to Rosemary's mother? When the hotel doctor saw Mrs. Gibbs, he knew at once that she was about to die. She had a form of the plague, a dread disease that killed quickly and caused frightening epidemics. If the word got out that a woman had died of the plague in the heart of Paris, there would be panic. People in the hotel and elsewhere would rush to escape. The doctor knew what the hotel's owners expected. He was to keep the case a secret. Otherwise, they would lose lots of money. To get Rosemary out of the way, the doctor sent her to the other side of Paris for some worthless medicine. As he expected, Mrs. Gibbs died soon after she left. Her body was smuggled out of the hotel to a cemetery where it was buried. A team of workmen quickly repainted the room and replaced everything in it. The desk clerks were ordered to tell Rosemary that she was in the wrong hotel. When she insisted on seeing her room, it had become a completely different place, and of course, her mother had vanished. All those involved were warned that they would lose their jobs if they gave away the secret. To avoid panic in the city, the police and the newspapers agreed to say nothing of the death. No police reports were filed. No news stories appeared. It was as if Rosemary's mother and her room had never existed. Whoa. Oh, it keeps going. In another version of the story, Rosemary and her mother had separate rooms. Mrs. Gibbs died during the night while Rosemary was asleep. Her body was removed. Then her room was repainted and refurnished. When Rosemary could not find her mother the next morning, she was told that her mother was not with her when she checked in. After many months of searching, a friend, a relative, or the young woman herself finds someone who works in the hotel and, for a bribe, reveals what happened. Excuse me. This legend was the basis of a movie, So Long at the Fair, that appeared in 1950. The story also inspired two novels, one published as early as 1913. But the story was old even then. The writer Alexander Woolcott discovered that it had been reported as a true story in England in 1911 in the London Daily Mail, and in America in 1889 in the Detroit Free Press. It became known throughout America and Europe. What? Brady? Mufasa of Doom, is that Brady? Oh my god, everyone say hi to Brady. Hang on, there was a chat that I missed. Adam, thank you for the super chat. If you ever wanted to go horror video game stream, I have some of the rarest ones ever. Stream some Kuon or Rule of Rose. They're amazing. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, so that story ended. That's actually pretty wild because like I was definitely not expecting that, like, at all. I was expecting some, like, because that's weird. Because that's actually not a paranormal story at all, right? Oh god, oh god. Hang on, let me see if we've got oh no, there's still a couple more that I think we can save for next week. Okay, cool. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining me. I'll be here next week. By Robert Whitaker, Demonizer 1-3, Ash Orain, Mufasa of Doom, Nate, Angie Chaos, Laurel Raffia, Firefox, Anna Lombardo, Gnarly Wonderland. See you next week. There's a new podcast episode next week.